Hello, welcome to Tech 105. Today I'd like to talk about Word. Word is a great word processing application. As a Lackawanna College student, you actually have access to Word not only online, but you can also use it in a true downloadable app if you have a Windows PC. Sorry, Mac users, right now Microsoft licensing does not allow it. To get to Word, simply go ahead and open up the Word app via the app launcher or searching for the word Word. When you do, you'll be greeted with a page that looks similar to this. I've hidden a couple of things here because I have some applications and some documents that are kind of for me. So anyway, so when you open up Word, you're going to see the first thing here is that I'm signed in my little avatar. If you're using one of the college computers in the computer lab and you sign in, it should look something like that. You'll always have the option to click on account, and then it'll show you when you click on account that you are licensed and who it's subscribed to and your user information there. Okay. There's a lot of other options in here inside of Word that we can play with, but we're not going to get too far into it here. You can also just put your username in there, a little bit of initials, change some language settings if you like, some accessibility options if you want. One of the other cool things, we'll get to it later on, is the ribbon, which is this area up here, and the quick access toolbar, which is the area right up top. Just wanted to point those things out to you. You'll also notice here that you've got a lot of display options and page options here. So we're going to go through those really soon. Okay, so let's start looking at Word. Because this is a Microsoft 365 account, I actually have an autosave option here. So what I like to do is if I'm working on a new document here, I like to go ahead and hit the autosave right off the bat. It's going to ask you where do you want to save it to. And once again, if you're on a Lackawanna College computer, it should automatically default to OneDrive. If you're on your personal computer, you can go ahead and pick your stored location. I like to use the OneDrive because then it backs everything up in my OneDrive application so I can access it anywhere. So we're going to call this Tech 105 just to have it ready to go. All right, so as soon as I do that and I click OK, it's going to name my document. It's going to upload it right to 365, and you're going to see right away that I got this green circle next to the save icon. All right. The coolest part about that is every time I make any changes at all to this document, it is automatically going to sync to the cloud. I'm going to go ahead and close this little dialog box. It's going to sync to the cloud, so that way I'm not losing anything. So that way, maybe accidentally I exit out of it here, or something happens, my battery dies in my laptop. I'll only lose what was between the last change, which would be very little. Okay, so again, this is our first step here, is always save your document immediately here. And you could always rename it right here. You could also go ahead and switch where you want it saved. And you can go ahead and say File and say Save a Copy and make a new copy someplace else. Okay, so let's talk about some identifying Word. So as I mentioned before, this is a quick access toolbar here. So these are icons that you're going to use all the time, and you get to customize these. That's one cool thing about Word. So right now, the save icon is something that you use very frequently. The undo and redo button are also pretty frequent things here. But if you're a person that wants to add other buttons you use all the time, you can hit this little button here, and you can actually customize your quick access toolbar. So maybe you want to have a print option. You can click and the printer is going to be right there. All right, we can turn that off. Maybe you want to go ahead and maybe you're a person that really wants to go ahead and use drawing, or you want to use the touch controls. Maybe send an email right out of Word. You can go ahead and do that just by turning on those quick access toolbars. All right, so let's talk about the ribbon. So when they're talking about the ribbon, they're talking about all these buttons here, as well as everything in here. So my laptop screen is fairly large, so I have a lot of options to see here, or a lot of viewing options here. But there's a cool thing that Word offers for you here. So what you can do is, if maybe you're working on a relatively small screen, you can actually double tap one of the titles, say the home button, and it's going to automatically hide that ribbon for you. All right, so all your tools are hidden. And as soon as you click on it again, hover, it's going to come back. Click back in the document, it's going to hide again. So that's a good little tip for you. So that way, if you happen to be in a situation where you don't see your ribbon, go ahead and double click on the home button and it's going to permanently be there now. All right, it's going to bring it back. Okay, so one of the things that Word does is it arranges, and all Microsoft products for that matter, arrange things in an order that's logical for you. What do you need to be doing at that given time? All right, so when you're on the Home tab, what are you working with? You're just typing your documents in here. You're adjusting your styles, you're making your layouts, your fonts, things like that, right? So in the Home option here, we have some really cool things here. We have Paste, but we also have a very cool Paste Special, all right? So Paste Special is going to give you more options where you can actually say, I want to do just the formatting, I want to merge it, just the text only, things like that. That's really cool when we get to the Microsoft Excel portion. You're going to have a cut, you're going to copy, and then you're going to have a format painter. All right, we'll go ahead and take a little look at that a bit. But maybe you really like this particular formatting. So we'll just type test here. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and let's change the theme to, or the font to this here. And then, all right, we'll say maybe we'll go ahead and we'll increase the font a little bit here, or maybe we're going to go crazier. We're just going to pick it right from the top here, 72. All right, we'll give it this really cool styling here, like that. And then, you know, let's go ahead and not only bold it, but we'll underline it. Okay, so then if I was to type the next item, it's going to go ahead and have that exact style. But if I want to go back to the default, all right, recently used, all right, and then maybe we'll go ahead and just do something like Courier, right? It's a simple one. And then a smaller font, like 11-point font, and I start typing something new. All right, it's got the coloring here. It's got the icons here. We can go ahead and unbold it and underline it, and then, you know, turn off our formatting. All right, so I could just say, you know what I want to do? I don't want to have anything here. I could just do, you know, no outline. All right, and then my font color is no longer that crazy color. We'll just make it black again. So something boring. But we can actually go ahead and highlight the test icon or the test text here, right? We can click that Format Painter option, and then I can highlight everything I want to match that formatting. Watch what happens. It's going to automatically copy the exact formatting here down to here. So that's going to make it really easy if you want to make your text match. Maybe you're doing a lot of cutting and pasting from different documents that you've been putting together, and you notice that your font is a little bit differently. Your font sizes are a little weird. You can easily select the text that you like as perfect, and then just copy the formatting onto everything below it. So that's pretty cool. All right, so besides we have font, all right, which we can pick our different fonts here. You can also go ahead and use the down arrow keys, all right, and you could select it. And if I actually had text selected, it would have been even better to show you. All right, so I can go ahead and actually go through it, and you'll see it's automatically, as I'm tabbing down through the arrow keys, it's changing what my text looks like. So that's pretty cool that you have that option to show you a live preview of what you like, what you're going to see there. And then because I didn't actually select anything, it went right back to that body. Once again, you can change your font size with live preview. If I don't click it, it goes right back. If I click it, it's going to keep it, right? You saw me do this already before. This is the increase and decrease or grow and shrink font options here. All right, so if I want to make it bigger, I can just keep hitting bigger, and I want to make it smaller, I could hit smaller. So the cool part about that is maybe you're not sure if something's going to fit on the page, and you don't want to go ahead and go for broke and go right to 72 point. You can easily, one at a time, increase the font a little at a time to see, do I like this? Does it look good? Okay, something else that's really cool inside of Word is we have a change case option. So right now we're in normal case, right? We're in sentence case where the first letter is capitalized and every word after that is not capitalized. You know what we can do? We can actually go ahead and change it to uppercase. How often have you had to go ahead and do that? Where you've had to go ahead and make every character a capital letter. Or you could do capitalize each word. So if I was to, let's say I'll delete that and make it, something here, I can actually go ahead, select this text, and I could say, let me capitalize each word, and it's going to automatically know that the T for test should be capitalized and the S for something should be capitalized because that is that. The other option here is a toggle case. That's kind of a weird one. Let me turn off the uppercase and then turn it off again so I don't have that anymore. We'll turn that off. Sentence case. What toggle case does is it's going to lowercase the first letter of your word, but uppercase everything after that. And again, I apologize. Something doesn't look quite right here. It's probably because I chose a weird option there. But that's toggle case, and that's something that you don't really use that often. We also have this really cool option here called Clear All Formatting. I click it one button. It's going to go ahead and make everything back to the default option of normal formatting here. All right, so that's pretty neat. You saw me already play with this here, my text effects. I've got all different colors here, outline, shadows, reflections, stuff like that. I could choose a default style here, or I can go ahead and create one of my own. I could choose the weights, the dashes, what kind of shadow I want, things like that. And I can, do things. And again, I encourage you to play with that. The next option here, would be our highlighting. All right, so I can actually turn on a highlighter. So if there's a word or something I want to call attention to in my document, I can instantly highlight it. But we've got a problem here. Because I highlighted my word with blue background and I have black text, you can't really read that. Well, that's where this font option comes into play. So I can go ahead and change my font to say, I like my blue background, but I want to have white font. And it changes it to white font. All right. Let's say I change my font color to, this might show up yellow. All right. Nothing changed. But if I select the text now and just click the yellow font, it's going to change everything for you. So it's going to remember your last selection, and it's going to change that last selection to be the color that you might have there. Okay, so that is the font category. Next would be paragraph here. So how many times have you had to do a bulleted list and didn't understand how to do that? All right. Text 2, all right, can't read that. Text 3, can't read that. We'll do our simple clear formatting. It makes it easy for me to do, and I'll just get rid of my background, no color. And now it's simple and easy for me to see. Hey, well, let's talk about this bullets here. If I want to make a bulleted list, it's as simple as clicking the bullet button. And every time I went ahead and clicked the return or the enter key, that's important, we have a bulleted list. But let's say I don't want to have bullets, so maybe I want to go ahead and do numbering. I could turn on a numbered list. And there's other options here, other styles, other numbering patterns, right? And then bullets, what do bullets look like? You could have little arrows or check boxes or whatever in there. This is the default one. Let's say I had, and I wanted to create a sub list. I can go ahead on here and I hit the tab key, and it's going to create a sub list. That's actually this function here, sub list. You'll notice that it automatically changed that 1, 2, 3 to a 2. If I click after here and hit enter, it's going to make it a B. And if I hit enter again, it's going to say we no longer using the sub categories here. We're going back to 2. All right. And I like keyboard shortcuts, so Control Z will put me back to that. If I go ahead and do test again and hit enter, it's going to keep doing that. And if I hit Shift Tab, it's going to do the exact same thing as hitting enter. It's a little extra keystroke, but it's actually a pretty cool thing that you can do instead of having to click. You can actually go ahead and hit Shift Tab. Tab brings it in, Shift Tab undoes it. Okay, so that's the bulleted list here. We also have the option here for indent, and this is actually pretty cool. So if I want to do a decrease indent, it's going to bring my list level out, and increase indent, it's going to bring my list level in. Again, that's working with this category right here. We also have an option here where we can do a sort. We can sort our text, how we want to sort it by paragraphs, themes, whatever in there. We could do that. This is something that's really handy for everybody here, and I don't know why people don't use it more often, is the show hide paragraph or formatting marks. You heard me say I hit return or enter. If I turn that on, every time you see this paragraph symbol, that means that you hit an enter key. This little arrow here is the symbol for a tab. So if I was to go ahead and hit enter here, and I was hit tab, you'll see tab, tab, all right? It'll start showing up. The next thing that you can do in here is instead of hitting enter, you can go ahead and hit shift enter. And what I did was I did a return. This symbol here is I didn't create a new paragraph, I just created a new line. That's important because when you're using bulleted lists or some of the other features here, if you're used to hitting enter versus this, you'll end up with extra page lines and page breaks. Okay, options here will be the left, center, and right align. There's an even cooler thing here where you can go ahead and justify it here. All right. The other cool thing here is, again, you heard me say like keyboard shortcuts. If I were to go ahead and hit Control E, that's the same thing as center. Control R, that's the same thing as right align. And the Control L, you guessed it, is the same thing as left align. So once again, Word's got some pretty cool features in it. You've also got our line and paragraph spacing. Now, this is something that an MLA APA styling here you have to mess with here. So what we like to do is they want to do double spacing. It's going to start off with single space. We'll click double space. You're going to notice, though, look at this weird text here. See how there's space here, but it's really, really huge here, and space here, but it's really huge here? That's because we have left space after. So if I go ahead and say remove space after, now look at my text. They're all more consistent in size. We're using the option for remove space after. Okay, add and remove. The next thing we have here is we have a paint bucket. A paint bucket kind of, you think it's like a shading here, or rather a highlight, but it's actually going to shade the entire paragraph, not just the text that you have highlighted. So it's actually pretty cool because you can make this entire paragraph have a blue background versus this one here, which is just the line or text has a blue background. All right, I'm going to turn that off and say no color, make it standard. All right. We've got some borders here. So these are very similar to how PowerPoint wording behave too. So we're going to have borders. We're going to have bottom border, top border, left, right, no borders turns them off, all borders turns everything on. This is really handy in Excel is outside borders, inside borders, or we can actually do something cool. We actually draw our lines how we want them to show up. So we can say, I want my line to be here, and then I just drew a line there and created some text. And actually, I just drew a table. Pretty cool. I'm going to undo that. Okay. So then we have all our styles here. Normally, you're in the normal style. And you'll notice that it took all my formatting out, put it back to 11 point, and Aptos body, which is what the formatting was set there. We have a no space option. We have a heading option, heading 2. And if you hit this arrow here, we have pre-made styles here. Strong, subtitle, book title, whatever. So some of these things in here are pretty handy. You can actually create your own styles. You can clear your formatting, or you can apply different styles in here. Pretty neat that you can do that. You've also got your ability to find and replace. Find works just like replace does, except replace not only is going to find the item, it's going to replace the text. So if I said I want to find the word test, okay, I gotta spell it right, test, and I could replace it with exam. Watch what happens. I could do it replace one at a time, and the first one's going to get replaced, or I can go ahead and say replace all. And now my replace happened, and all the words that said test turned to exam. That's really handy for you guys when you actually want to make a change. Maybe you have to change an author or a book title, something like that. You can easily go ahead and find one thing and change it to another. Really handy. Dictate to use voice recording. We're not going to play with that right now. Editor mode is going to go ahead and make your spelling, grammar, and writing suggestions. This is actually something new inside of Office where it's going to help you be a better writer. I'm going to say I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to make any suggestions, and we're just going to turn it off for now. Okay, so that's the Home tab here. What we haven't shown you is all these little arrows here means there's even more options you could play with. left indenting, right indenting. You could do space before, space after, line and paragraph breaks here. All right. All these different options here. So I encourage you to play with it. Next thing would be the Insert tab. Insert, because Word says, let's go ahead and type our document and then let's insert our pictures or our page breaks or our blank pages, whatever. You logically move from left to right. So if I wanted to go ahead and click here and say, I would love to insert, say, maybe a picture, I'd click here. It's going to say, where do you want to get it from? You can also use stock images, or you can search the online library for Word, Microsoft's library for all the pictures that might be there. And again, these are just default suggestions here. We'll choose a car, and it's going to say, hey, look, here's a picture of a Ferrari here. So we'll click it, and I could say insert. And there's a nice picture of a car. All right. If I go back into my insert option and I say insert, I can also insert from your device, from your cell phone, or stock images. And what I didn't uncheck for you guys was this Creative Commons that's in here. If I uncheck Creative Commons only, you're going to see a whole lot more pictures of cars show up here. So these are cars that it happened to scrape and find on the internet. You could always look for more and insert them on your own. But this Bugatti's pretty cool. We'll insert that. All right. So here's a picture of that Bugatti. All right. As soon as I loaded this new picture, what do we get? We got a brand new tab inside the ribbon bar here. So picture formatting here. So I could go ahead and I could recolor my graphics here. My picture, I can make it lighter, darker, darken the whole image up here if I want. I can go ahead and actually change the color. Maybe I want a wholly different thing here. Maybe like a sketched option. Look at that. Kind of sketched the car out a little bit there, stylized it. I could do artistic effects here if I want. It's going to get kind of weird because I chose black and white. If I go back to the no color, no recoloring here, and then artistic effects, you're going to see even more stuff here. So here's another kind of like, sketched option here of what a Bugatti could look like. You can actually go ahead and I'll turn that back off. You could actually set a transparent color. This is actually pretty cool here. So I can choose what kind of transparency do I want here. I want to pick my own color here, or I could say set transparency, and I could say, look, I want to make it maybe super light, so that way you kind of have it so it's not kind of the most standout thing on the page. It's just kind of a background image on here. Pretty cool. All right. Maybe that picture of Bugatti is really cool, but you know what? Maybe I got to pick a different car now. I could choose change picture. It'll go right back to the online pictures, go back to the cars, turn off Creative Commons again, and then I can go ahead and choose, let's go with that Ferrari again. We'll click it, and it should insert the picture for me, and choose insert, and then it'll change it to the exact same size. Pretty neat. Okay. We can also put some kind of borders around our picture here. We could actually change our borders. Maybe we want a circle border here, so it pops out on the page. We can make that border on here. We can maybe make it have a yellow border or a green border because it's a green car. We could change our effects on the picture, and we could do something cool, do like a rotation. All right. So it's kind of like pops off the page a little bit here. Maybe we'll do just a simple one here so it's not too crazy. A little perspective rotation on it. Something like that. A little perspective on it. And then I can choose in here. I could choose different layouts if I had multiple pictures on here. But I kind of think that if we changed our border and made our border weight a little thicker, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to make it a little nicer there. So we got a cool picture in there. Something that everybody gets wrong on here is I want to go ahead and I want to add more texture. Watch what happens. I'm going to hit enter. It's moving the picture down, right? But what if we didn't want to do that? You know what we can do? We could click on the picture and we could go back into picture formatting and change this wrap text and this position here. So we have an option that says I want my text to be on top. I want my text to wrap around here, and it's a lot more effective when you have a lot of text on the page. Or I want to choose my text wrapping. The text wrapping here could be, I want it to be behind my text. Watch this. As soon as I do that, I could keep typing. It didn't actually work for me. I apologize, guys. I could actually tell it I want it to be behind my text, and I'll be able to actually move this picture in front of the text anywhere I want, or it'll appear with the text behind it. So look, there you go. So there's all my text. So now I can just type right away, and it's going to type right over that picture. That's really handy if you have like a chart or a graph and you want to go ahead and type in it. It does get kind of weird with options for margins, but it is still a really cool feature that you can actually put the picture as a background and make it look really cool. So that's that. We could also play with the arrangement, bring forward, send back. We could resize or crop as well. We could use the drawing option here. I happen to be using a touchscreen laptop, so because I have a touchscreen laptop, I can use my finger and I can do my highlighting that way. I'm going to undo that. So that option may not show up if you don't have a touchscreen laptop. We have design here. So we actually have predefined themes inside of Office. So right now we're using an Office theme, but we can actually change our theme, and it's going to automatically change the theme fonts and theme colors, because that way Word says, I believe that this color scheme works best together. The coolest part about this here is if I stylize these options here, and we'll go back to home, and maybe I'll choose, I want my text to be really important. This column that far down, and I go back to the design option, and I change my theme. As soon as I change it to a different theme, it's going to automatically update those colors. And it remembers where I clicked inside my font color. That's the same spot, just a different color, because I changed my actual design. It's going to choose your titles, your fonts, everything in here, paragraph spacing. If you want to do a page border, all this stuff's going to get done through the design tab. Even a watermark. Watermarks are those things in the background page that basically say a stock photo or not for resale, that kind of stuff. Something in the background of the page. We've got a layout tab here. So layout is where you're going to change your margins, your size, your orientation, if it's portrait or landscape. Portrait is up and down, landscape is left and right. See, my page got longer. Default option is portrait. And then margins. Margins are going to be normal is 1 inch all around. You have the option for narrow. This works pretty well if you're trying to get more text on a page here. You got to be very careful though, because some printers don't like that. We could also choose a default, which is the 2003 inch on top and 1.25 on the left and right, or custom sized. So don't be afraid to go ahead and play with the margins a little bit. Go back to the default 1 inch margin. Page size here, standard is letter. We have legal page and all different sizes in here. You can pick them all, postcards. You could add columns if you want to, 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, whatever, left, right. So you can do that. The next thing that everybody really needs to learn how to do is to insert a break. All right, so there's an easy way to do it. You can go ahead and Alt-Enter, and it's going to automatically insert a page break, or pardon me, Control-Enter. We'll insert a page break. All right, but there's another option. Let's say you forget that. You can easily go on to the Layout tab and choose Insert what? I want to insert a break, and it'll automatically insert my break here. I can choose Page Break. Same exact thing as hitting that Control-Enter key. But that's another option here. Our indenting is the exact same things that you saw when we did that show the paragraph formatting here. References is something that you use if you're writing a research paper. Right now, we happen to be in the APA styling here. If you're supposed to use the MLA styling, you choose MLA. All this is going to do is this is going to change your references page, which is right under bibliography here. It's going to make it formatted appropriately for how an MLA document is supposed to be formatted versus an APA styling document. Check this out. All right. So it looks really similar here, But when you start having sources added to your document and you choose Insert Bibliography, it's going to populate a completely formatted, 100% correct, works cited page right for you. The way you do that is you just choose Manage Sources. You add all your sources, fill out the document here with, say, New. Fill out all the sources if it's a book. If it's an article, a website, whatever, fill as much information as you can. Give it a name if it helps you. And then it'll show up here as a master list. And then as you use those sources, it'll show up in the current list. And anything that's in the current list, as soon as you choose Insert Bibliography, it will create a works cited page for you. Very cool. This is something that is a little more advanced. Mailings here, you can create labels, you can create envelopes. You can do a mail merge if you have an Excel document filled with text on it. So that's pretty cool. The review options, you go through it here. Review is where you're going to find spelling and grammar. Notice it doesn't like my spelling of my nonsense text here. It's automatically doing a spell check for you. But what you can do is you can do a complete spelling or spelling and grammar check right now from here. All right, there it is. Doesn't know what that word means because it's just nonsense text typed. You could also use a thesaurus. So if you go to text and click it and say, I want to look at a thesaurus, I have options for what the option for text is. So that's a pretty neat feature there. You also have the ability to highlight text, right click it, and then choose synonyms, which is something on here, and thesaurus right from there. So don't be afraid to go ahead and explore, right click, see all the different options here. Pretty neat. Word counting is being done if you select it here, but if you're really astute, you'll actually see that it is doing an automatic word count down the bottom here, paragraph, pages, whatever here. And if you actually click the word count, it's going to show you how many pages, how many characters, how many paragraphs, whatever. So when your instructor tells you your paper has to be so many pages and so many characters, this is where you do it. Another thing that I think you guys really need to learn here, and I apologize that I didn't show you on the insert option here, would be to go ahead and insert the header or footer and page number. So you can actually click here and say, I want to insert a header, and it's going to create a header for you. 3-column, whatever. If I just choose blank, it's going to put a header here, and I can just use Control R to write a line right. I could type my last name in here, and then I could insert a page number, and I'd want to use from current position and plain, and it's going to put a page number. I actually had my text highlighted, my apologies. It's going to put a page number right here from the current position, plain number, and there you go. Every time I come up with a new page, we're going to have a page number that's automatically updated. Now, you saw me accidentally do it. I'll go ahead and put my last name here. But what I'll do is I'll choose page number, but I won't say current position. I'll say top of page. Watch what happens to my last name. It wipes it right out. So that's why if you're going to do for MLA or APA, you have to format it. You're going to choose your last name, hit a space key, and then choose current position. So that's just something else I think is really cool for you. There's also, we'll jump back over here to the view option here. You also have the print layout, which is default. They match what's down here. You have reading mode, which is going to go ahead and get rid of all your formatting here. Makes it easier to read. Or you have this option here for web layout. What would a web page look like if it was done that way? And we'll go back to the normal mode here. All right. If you want, you can turn on focus, and it's going to black out your entire screen and make it so that way you have no choice but to go ahead and work on it. And I'll turn off focus mode. All right. You have it'll read the text to you in immersive reader mode here. And you also can go ahead and zoom in if you want. 100%, 200%. If I hit OK, watch what happens. Nice and huge, right? Or I could just use my zoom options down here. You click it right, go back to the same size you had here. I think that's pretty much all we probably want to cover here. If you have any questions, you could always use the help option here, search for help here, or search for help down here. I have a tab in here called Acrobat. You guys probably won't have it because I have Acrobat Reader installed on here. You are always able to, inside of Word, always save a document as a PDF. You can say save as Adobe PDF, or you could simply say print, and you can say print to a PDF, and it will make that Word doc or PDF document for you. Guys, I really hope this overview helps you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and enjoy the rest of the week. Thanks.